It is showtime in the University City. Hey, everybody, welcome in. It's Three Guys Before the Game, episode 573, 74, 75, something in the 570s. It's the U Albany game recap. Thanks for being with us. Three Guys is assembled, ready to roll. That over there be the dean. He's refreshed. He took his Saturday night bath after the game, and so look at him. Just a picture of health. He's ready to go with his Tudor's Biscuit World insulated cup. Yeah, we'll talk more about that as well. The senator is here as well. He's representing the state of West Virginia. Yeah, there you go. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
State outline there.
It's all about state pride.
It's all about state pride.
It's all about pride.
Yeah. You know what else it's about? It's about winning football games, and the world champion Mountaineers have now evened up their record at 1-1 on the season after the victory over the U Albany. We'll talk more about that as well. That's become controversial. So they're 1-1. This week will be Pitt week, but before we get into all of that and more, we're going to focus on this one. What did we learn? What should we feel good about? What should we be concerned about? Your text questions, comments, and a lot of interaction with Three Guys listeners over the game weekend because of the food court.
Oh, yeah. Food court was huge.
Hub of activity.
Enjoyed it.
I went twice.
You go twice?
Twice.
I only went once.
Yeah, I know. But I get it. But you were there more the first week, so it's good.
I was there Friday night, had a very, very nice visit. Charles Wesley was there.
I know he was.
With his family.
This was a star-studded weekend.
What do you mean by that?
For attendance. So there were a lot of people there. We'll get into that coming up here a little bit.
Celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brad ran into some big celebrities.
Yeah. Friday, I was there a long time yesterday. I spent about 2.5 hours there yesterday.
The Three Guys tailgate is now an international gathering.
It is.
Right, Brad?
Yeah, it is.
International.
No question.
Brings people in from different continents. We'll talk about that. All right, so West Virginia, as they say, takes care of business on a college football weekend in which not everyone did take care of business. There were some eye-raising results. The Notre Dame one is that the case study and classic definition of on any given Saturday, something unexpected can happen if you're not ready to play?
College football. There's flat spots every week. The other team has players. I know this may surprise you. The other team has players too. And, Brad, you get a game into the second half, and it's a close game, and the other team now didn't listen to everybody that says you can't win. And the team that's supposed to win gets a little tight. Guess what happens? Yeah. And then you turn the ball over. You get pick sixes. Stuff happens.
Stuff happens. That's why we watch it, and that's why we listen, and that's why we talk about it. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details. More on Gomart coming up. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Working on this story right now. Don't have it confirmed. Probably won't until the game preview gets recorded on Thursday. Believe that the Mountaineer football team is taking Lou Wendell pontoons up the Monongahela River this week to get up to Pittsburgh. Straight shot.
It is.
Just right up north. You can just get through there. So trying to figure out, I think, some lock and dam situations. And once they get that, they'll be on Lou Wendell Marine Sales going up to Acrisure Stadium.
Well, listen, boats were good to the Mountaineer football team in recruiting. They were out there this summer when they had people in recruiting, so they're very big into boats.
Three Guys also
and boating.
Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. Tudor's Biscuit World, and by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers.
Hop, you're right. Letdown spots are a real thing.
Yes.
That's why we spend time talking about it. That matters, and I think sometimes that gets overlooked, that these are guys that have, Notre Dame, go on the road, get a massive win against Texas A&M. They come back. They've got Northern Illinois. They're going through the week, no matter what the coaches are saying. Hey, they've got players. They're going to do that. Okay, that's right. Thanks. All due respect to Northern Illinois.
All due respect.
We've got them. We're fine.
Yeah.
They weren't fine.
Not so much.
Now Penn State faced something similar.
Yes.
Letdown spot for them in terms of there was a lot going on around this game for Penn State, right? Some of that got their guys up. They came out and slothed through the first half right there. So they eventually, their defense kicked it in and figured out who they were.
Or not as big a one because they were on the road, but still Kansas. Like everybody's talking about Kansas. Guess what? Illinois beats them. And in that game, what happens, Brad, when you commit 3 turnovers?
3 turnovers, you got a problem. When one of them turns into a touchdown, you got a real problem. Jalen Daniels, 3 picks. One of them was a pick 6. Ball game. You lose.
It's a stunning stat. Not that we're here to talk about Illinois, Kansas, but it's a stunning stat. You would think if Illinois was going to beat Kansas, it was going to be because Coach Bielema's team was going to pound them, just make chuck roast out of them, ground them down. Didn't run the ball. Ran for less than 100 yards. But anyway.
Turnovers and a defensive touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get into that. All right, we haven't chatted yet about the contest. Hoppy, takeaways from the Mountaineers' victory.
The story is as old as time, and that is think of a movie, think of a book where you have a hero and the hero starts out and everything is wonderful and you identify with the hero and everything is all good. And then the hero faces some adversity and they overcome the adversity and they prevail and all is right with the world. So this game went kind of according to script. West Virginia comes out, big lead early, maybe they have a tad of a letdown, and then they face adversity. And U Albany starts throwing the ball down the field. Burkett turns out to have a really good game, and you reach this critical juncture. I don't think the game was ever in doubt, really, but you do reach a critical juncture where they're within a yard of making it a 28-21 game, making it a game. And then West Virginia makes plays. Defense makes plays, 99 yards down the field, and then the game sort of goes the rest of the way according to script. So that's one macro. Now, Brad will have some breakdown on that. And it was a lot of positives. I mean, the crowd was not a sellout, but it was a good crowd. It was a beautiful day. We saw Garrett Green look like Garrett Green. We saw the offensive line and running backs just absolutely dominate. The defensive line looked good. The linebackers, outstanding play from the linebackers. You do have concerns on the defensive backfield, and Neil Brown spoke to that after the game and said they have to do a better job playing the ball in the air, and you saw some examples of that. So a lot of positives. Got to win. It's nice to win. It's not easy to win, as we saw yesterday across the country. So a lot of positives. But again, that defensive backfield, there are concerns there going into a very difficult part of your schedule.
Senator.
Well, nothing to add. He just filibustered through every position group there. So
thank you, Hoppy.
Hoppy got it.
Well, I did the macro. You got the micro.
No, I think West Virginia, you're right, Hop. The game was never in doubt. There was no chance that U Albany defense was ever going to stop West Virginia. They just did absolutely whatever they wanted. So take that side of the ball first. I thought that group did exactly what we talked about in the preview episode is go out, get your timing right, mash a team that you're better than, run it if you want to run it, throw it when you want to throw it, do whatever you want, and they did. And I think you're right on Garrett. I mean, he looked like Garrett. Mm-hmm. The thing about him, I was trying to watch him with a little more critical eye because you figured he was going to do whatever. So a couple things. He took off a few times, right, which is when he's at his best. They got very little pressure on West Virginia, but one time when they did, he just sidestepped the defender and took off. Looked like it was just a practice rep. Went out, picked up 9 yards. That's when he's at his best. But what impressed me yesterday with him, and a lot of this was, I'm sure, because the offensive line, once again, and we'll get into this, another really good performance. I know you would expect them to have a good performance, but they did. Garrett's pocket was clean almost all night, but Garrett looked really comfortable in the pocket as a drop-back passer.
Yes.
He wasn't moving his feet. He wasn't looking to get out. He just dropped back like, okay, I got it, and took some shots downfield underneath. I saw some of his throws underneath were very good. So when 6 is good, you will have a chance to win games. So there's you want me to do a macro, Hop?
Yeah,
there's a macro. Yeah. When 6 is good, you're going to be in games, and he was elite in this game. Running game was outstanding. 2 backs go over 100 yards. CJ and Jaheim White could have ran for 400 had they had some more plays. West Virginia just didn't get a ton of offensive plays. Just marched down the field and did whatever you wanted offensively. We'll get into the defense. A couple bright spots defensively. The pass rush was better. And again, it should be. But if U Albany had a strength, that was going to be their offensive line. Sean Martin in particular, TJ Jackson for the second week in a row. I thought Jackson showed up. He looked really good. We'll get to Martin a little bit later. And yeah, what you said is what everybody saw. Coverage and defensive backs performance is going to be an issue, and they've got to get that fixed because this next 6 games is where your season is made or broken. So that's the part you got to clean up, and I know we'll drill down in each of these areas.
Yeah, agree with all of that, and I think, as you said, like your first 2 games, you get a good feel as to where you are, and now this is going to be an extremely enjoyable, fun week for another big buildup. Right, 2 of your first 3 games are going to have these really big buildups. The fact that Pitt won late at Cincinnati also adds to it. So now they're 2-0. And obviously you go back in history, and the last time West Virginia was up at Pittsburgh, it was there, right? On paper, you should be going up there to get a 3rd consecutive win over the Panthers. And I think that for those guys, and there are a lot of those guys that are still on this team, they remember that. Right? They remember that. And on the other side, you could say for Pitt, hey, they also did not have the day they wanted here last year. So it sets up really nice.
And Pitt's going to come to that game with confidence because they were out of that Cincinnati game. Out of it. 26-6, is that right, Brian?
21-6.
21-6. And came back in the second half. I mean, was a different team in the second half and won the game.
Last night was also what you normally see. You played 2 preseason games this year. So usually in the second preseason game, you get to sit some of your starters and get a bunch of guys in. So what? You have a question?
What do you mean by
preseason's
over? 2 preseason games. You open with Penn State preseason. Tough preseason game, but you get your first week of reps in there. Right. You were just coming out of practice. I don't know if you had any of those joint practices like you sometimes see. And you go into your second preseason game where you're trying to taper down a little bit, all due respect to U Albany, taper down a little bit, and you want to get a bunch of your players in. So you did that. So I think you learned some things in a win and a loss in the preseason.
1-1 in the preseason.
1-1 in the preseason. You wipe the slate clean. Now you begin your schedule. Yeah, with six big games. This will be fun this week. I'm looking forward to this. I still have questions about who Pitt is. Right now, last year, go back to this, their offense was putrid. Sorry to give you bulletin board material. Pitt Panther fans are going to lose their mind when I say it. It was not good. And West Virginia's defense dominated that Pitt offense. West Virginia's defense won that game as Garrett Green went out, right? Credit Nico Marchio for being able to come in and do enough to get that win, and then Neal went conservative and let that defense win the game. This will be different. This version of Pitt has come out throwing the ball all over. Eli Holstein's gone over 300 yards both games, so we'll have to see. Now, opponent adjusted a little bit. Kent State won 1 game last year.
Right.
Kent State just lost to St. Francis yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Little opponent adjusted for them as well.
Just overall fun week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fun week, right? Press conferences are coming up tomorrow. So, Coach Narduzzi will have his press conference. Invariably, someone will read between the lines if there is anything to be read, and they'll find something, and then they'll fan that fire all week long, and so that'll build up. And
there always is, because it's Pitt, West Virginia. So,
but this stuff's supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
right. I talked about that this summer, Tone. You're allowed to have fun around this stuff. I don't know if that's a commonly held theme here. You can have fun, Hop.
You absolutely
Last night was fun.
Yes.
You don't have to apologize that it played U Albany. That was fun. Mm-hmm. You did what you're supposed to do. We enjoyed the game.
Absolutely.
Sat there, talked about, enjoyed the game. This will be a fun week too. I love this game on the schedule. We've talked many times about West Virginia's schedule, the need to get out of the 2 Power 5s because it's just unlike anybody else in the country is doing. This game, I'm glad, is on the schedule, and I'm glad it is Pitt week. This is college football, right? As much as everybody nationally wants to tell you about the SEC and the Big Ten and nobody else exists, this is why there are other teams outside of those leagues that you should be talking about.
That's why
this will be an environment that is really good. Right? Nationally, you can't say anything's good outside the SEC or Michigan or Ohio State. This is one of the very best atmospheres and rivalries in college sports, full stop.
Yeah, that's why the schedule, if you could just make it the way you want it, would have every year you would either play Pitt or you'd play Pitt or Maryland or Virginia Tech, maybe Penn State, one of those schools that you have this Syracuse, I don't care, one of these rivalries with would be great. And then 2 non-power 4 opponents.
Yeah, I might be fine if it was just Pitt, quite frankly. There is some that I do like seeing some of these other teams, but if you told me you were only playing one and it had to be Pitt, I'd be okay with that.
Brad, what were we watching yesterday? The great atmosphere of Iowa State, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, just a great atmosphere, a great game. That game has value. So you're right.
That game should be played too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That game should not go away. So Pitt, West Virginia, same thing.
How about the ending of that one?
Ooh.
walk-on kicker for Iowa State bangs a 54-yarder, and it was set up by an unbelievably poised Rocco Becht in the pocket against a very good Iowa defense, hitting a big play down the sideline that got them into field goal range. That's a really good win for Iowa State. That's a nice win for the league. An unranked Iowa State team on the road against a ranked Iowa team. That was a good day for the Big 12 yesterday, and we talked about that going into the week, that it was going to be important for the national narrative because a lot of national folks would have loved to jump on the Big 12 yesterday had they lost a bunch of those games. Overall, played pretty well. Yeah. Kansas State with a good win at a good Tulane team. Mm-hmm. That was nice. Oklahoma State found a way to win against an SEC Arkansas team. So overall, good day for the Big 12.
By the way, that kick would have been good from 64.
Well, he hammered that.
He crushed it.
Yeah. You really think the league had a good day?
In terms of wins, yeah. Wins and losses.
BYU won on Friday.
BYU beat SMU. A lot of people loved SMU before.
Yeah, so I was just looking at it. So Utah, Baylor, 23-12.
That's a good non-conference win for Utah. That game wasn't a conference game.
Correct, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And K-State, Arizona State won't be either coming up, right?
Yeah.
But Houston, that was a wow. The way they played Oklahoma?
Willie Fritz is going to get it turned around.
Whoa,
I think the league would have been better off if Houston stayed bad like they were rather than getting a guy that knows what he's doing.
Okay, Oak State beats Arkansas. That was a lot of futility going on. Both teams missed field goals in the first overtime.
Mm-hmm. Take the win. People forget about that by November.
K-State snuck out of New Orleans. Illinois beating
Tulane's pretty good. That's where Willie Fritz came from. Right, They've been good. They probably win that AAC. That'll end up by the end of the year being a nice win.
Illinois beating Kansas. If Kansas is going to be all that in a bag of chips, that's one they got to go get.
Yeah, I think there's questions about Kansas. It's interesting how public perception goes. People like to snicker and laugh and giggle and ha-ha at Kansas for years and years and years, right? Then all of a sudden they become the darling. Now Illinois rushes the field for a win over Kansas.
I've read that. Whoa, how times have changed. Cincinnati loses the lead and loses the game to Pitt 28-27. Mm-hmm. UCF, Sam Houston.
Destroyed them.
Did you see the running numbers on UCF?
So they ran for 500 in their first game, too. They haven't played anybody yet.
Nebraska beating Colorado. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of expected, right?
Expected, yep.
How about the Washington State, Texas Tech? And that ain't real good.
Yeah, no, that one wasn't good.
That wasn't real good. And then Arizona State, that's a nice win over Mississippi State.
I've watched them a couple times now. Everybody just passed them off. They were the team picked last in the Big 12 this year, and everybody just wrote them off. Offensively, they do some things. They got some skill guys.
How about this cat for them? Cam Scatabo? You seen this running back? Mm-hmm. He ran for 2,000 yards yesterday. Mm-hmm. That's a long day, Hoppy.
Yeah.
He ran for what now?
He ran for 2,000 yards yesterday. No, actually, he ran for 260. Let me see here. Yeah. He ran for 262 last night while you were sleeping. He ran for 262. He averaged 8 yards a carry. He carried it 33 times. That's 1978 football right there. He carried it 33 times. Anyway, so that's what we got. All right, let's move on. You ready to do it?
Yeah, I think we'll.
Do you want to put a preface in front of these numbers because we're recording so early?
Yeah, so some of these, this may be, I'm going to jump around a little bit with the quick turnaround from last night's game into the early recording this morning. So they haven't matured yet. All the numbers haven't matured, but we'll go through
what does that mean?
Well, they'll shift and change. So some of the PFF grading that we'll go through today will shift as they watch the game a second and third time and get some more data in there. But we'll go through what the early reports were.
All right. What do you say we do this thing? Hit the music, maestro.
So I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater. Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
It goes without saying, but I'll say it. The technology has changed our lives. That includes when it comes to accounting. Connolly CPA Group now provides outsourced accounting, which means they'll come in and do your accounting with really not coming in. I mean, they can just kind of just get in. They get in. They can outsource a lot of different things. They can help you with your accounting. They can help you with your CFO services if you're a business owner and need accounting help or consultation. Visit Connolly CPA Group. They do provide value beyond the numbers. Remove all the hassle of putting together an accounting staff. Go Connolly CPA Group. All right, early numbers say what?
Let's first just look at some some numbers from the game overall that stood out. This was a complete change from the Penn State game when we talked about Penn State averaging 8 yards per play on first down, West Virginia in that 3 range. Yesterday, West Virginia averaged 10.2 yards per play on first down.
That's healthy.
Is that good, Hop?
Yeah, it's healthy.
Are you in good shape if you're averaging a first down every first down?
Yeah,
I think they call that winning football.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. We're going to get into the West Virginia defense, and I know everybody's losing their mind about coverage and the big plays by Albany. But overall, I found this interesting. Albany's offensive success rate, which is defined just overall, not pass, not run, just successful plays that the offense has. In fact, I'll give you the exact definition here. You with me?
Yeah.
All right.
So this is the success rate.
Offensive
of all
success rate.
offensive plays.
It's defined as the percentage of successful plays based on yards needed adjusted for down. Okay?
All right.
So, for example, a 2-yard gain means something different. On first down, 2 yards is not successful. On 3rd and 1,
yes,
2 yards is a successful play.
Got it.
If you are below 40, what I'm about to read you, if you're below 40%, that's below average.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Below 40.
Gotcha.
West Virginia held U Albany to 20% offensive success rate.
That has to be, but that's impacted by, which I know you're going to get into, the run defense, right? I mean, they just couldn't run, correct?
Yeah. Point being, overall, Albany had a few of those big plays and too many that the staff is not going to be excited about. But overall, you absolutely just decimated them. They couldn't run the football on you. You got some pressure. So I thought that, again, one of those numbers, everybody walks out of that game going bananas that the defense is no good. Overall, the defense was really good yesterday. It's the passing big plays were the concern. So a 20% offensive success rate for Albany. Back to West Virginia's offense for a second. They had 31 first downs in the game. 31. It's the 6th time under Neal that West Virginia has had 30-plus first downs, like the 4th or 5th most since 2002. So offense was clicking.
If you get 25, then you're in really, really good shape. So they get 31. What was it?
31 first downs out of 58 plays.
That's good.
So now do that. So not only did you get over your 25, 31 out of 58, so well above 50% of your plays went for first downs.
Yep.
We just said you averaged 10 just on first down. So some really good offensive numbers. The offense looked exactly like we thought it would and how it should look against Albany. It was dialed in and ready to go. The big plays were the kind of the story on both sides. That's defined for this stat as runs of 10 yards or more, passes of 15 yards or more. West Virginia had a ton, 18 of those that racked up 390 yards of total offense. Just, again, did whatever it wanted. Albany, 10 of those such plays that went for 267 total yards, and again, most of those came through the air.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm not interrupting. You have the success rate for WVU's offense?
Yes. Stand by.
Because he said theirs was in the 20s. I would be interested because I bet you it's got to be high, right? You got 31 first downs off 58 snaps?
Yeah.
Above 50% is above average. You've had an above average game if you're over 50%.
Yeah.
55%.
Yeah. Well, when you scored 7 out of your 9 drives, that makes sense. Sure. I'm sorry. Go back to your pre-programmed.
And you were going to score.
We're happy to field questions here. Yeah, and you would have scored more. If there was one concern offensively, if I'm going to nitpick, it's obviously the turnover, the fumble by Jaheim White after a 36-yard run.
Unfortunate.
That likely would have ended in another touchdown drive there. So it's unfortunate. Just fighting for extra yardage and got the ball stripped away from him.
They turned him into a top. They spun him. They did a great job defensively to spin him around and root that ball out. Nice job.
Okay. What else do you want to know? You want to do some grades?
What else you got?
Grades.
Yeah, individual grades.
As they sit.
Yeah, again, early. This is early. Hoppy, you got election coming up in November. This is early polling. This is early polling results.
Exit polling.
This will change as the days go on, as far as the grades go. But what do you have initially?
Let's play a guessing game. Who do you think was the highest graded Mountaineer defender? And let me qualify.
Okay.
The actual number one, but he unfortunately only played 8 snaps, and according to Neal in postgame, he's going to be out for a few weeks. Eddie V was just only got those 8 snaps in and then had to exit due to injury. That's a concern that we'll talk about in the preview coming up here.
That was a lower leg, and he already had an MRI by the time the game was over. And Neal said that looks like a couple of weeks. I don't know if it's a knee, if it's a shin, what it is, but it was a lower leg.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to see that, man.
Yeah.
Hate to see that.
Yeah, for a guy that's worked so hard to make himself a better football player, to get in the position that he was of starting, and you need him. You're just going to need some defensive line because as we talk about coverage and how much better the coverage is going to get, the defensive line plays a big factor in that in terms of ability to get pressure.
So he was the guy. Wait a minute, he was the guy with
and
the
he
highest
was number
score?
one, but it was only 8 snaps. So I usually take that. I mean, if you're not playing a regular, at least half of the snaps, you kind of move along on the grades. Who do you have as number one yesterday?
Anthony Wilson.
Anthony Wilson or Carrico?
Not Anthony Wilson.
Carrico?
Carrico is the answer. And again,
Hoppy.
these shift a little bit.
Boom.
Carrico ended up as the highest graded defender coming out of the Penn State game as well, which is really interesting from this standpoint. You didn't hear a lot about him early in camp, and then kind of at the end, you started. Carrico's making some plays. He's making some plays, and then the first couple of games, you see him. 35 shows up.
He hit that one kid late in the second half. That was an explosion.
Yeah, he played well again, so that's encouraging. And we talked about it all summer, thinking the linebacker position had the most depth that it's had, certainly under Neal and maybe going back before that. You just have a bunch of guys that can play.
Well, Neil Brown says that.
Yeah, Ben Cutter's a guy that's coming in to fill you for depth.
He might have had a
He
hit or
started
two
most of
there.
their games. Yeah, absolutely. Carrico also, Hoppy, had my favorite play of the game. He ended up on the ground with a U Albany offensive lineman that just laid on top of him and wouldn't get off. Carrico said, "Is that right? Is that right? You're just going to lay on me? Here's what I'm going to do." Just did a full push-up with an
the guy on
offensive
top of
lineman
him.
on his back. Just did a full push-up. Guy got off and he was all surprised. Get out of here. Get off and quit laying on people.
A play that doesn't show up in the stats, but
That's
meaningful.
not a spot. I don't have a spot for number of push-ups done with an offensive lineman on your back, but Carrico leads the country in that stat, I believe.
You know, before he played his first snap here, people would come to me from up in the Northern Panhandle that had seen him during his high school days. And they said, "I'm just telling you, this kid's the deal. This kid's a dude. You're going to love this kid." And, yeah, he's really making an impact.
Top 100 kid, 4-star, went to Ohio State. So he's playing well. That's a good sign. All right, next highest graded player, hint, I've already mentioned him in today's
Cutter.
broadcast.
Cutter.
No, not Cutter.
Mhm.
Defensive lineman.
A defensive line.
Oh, Jackson.
Yeah, TJ Jackson.
Second game.
Yeah.
Make plays.
Yeah, he did. And you saw him yesterday. He was quicker and stronger than the guys across from him. So he did a nice job getting there. He was credited with the tied for the most. And again, this is one of those stats back up what you saw. The two guys with the most pressure stats, according to PFF, as we sit here 12 hours after the game has ended, Martin and Jackson with 6 apiece. So really good. West Virginia credited with 25 total pressures on the day, 3 sacks. So they were forcing Burkett out of the pocket a lot. Now, Burkett made some plays.
Yeah, he did when he got out of the pocket.
But credit the defensive line and the linebackers for getting in there and making that uncomfortable.
Speaking of Burkett, I was impressed by him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
agree.
he did not have a great game in their opener against LIU, and then he obviously had an extremely shaky start. So most guys break at that point, right? And you'd expect he's just going to start throwing worm burners out there around the field. Credit that kid, man. He was a highly accomplished kid in the state of Wisconsin. He was their player of the year, threw for over 6,000 yards, 70 touchdowns as a high school kid. Just couldn't get on the field at Wisconsin. Chris Herring was at Wisconsin when they recruited him as an assistant coach. He's now with us as a special teams consultant. And he was raving about the kid before the game, saying he's a great kid and he's a good player. And the kid made plays. Credit him.
He and our favorite name/number combination in the country, 7 McGee.
7 McGee.
7 McGee was as advertised. He was really good as well. Luckily for West Virginia, he had some cramping issues
some
that came up
hydration.
early.
Yeah, some hydration
Yeah,
issues.
exactly. So 4 catches, 90 yards for him in limited action. But that was a problem combination for West Virginia.
What was that one catch he made where
Well, the one in to open the second half.
Yeah.
Between the two defenders.
That was great coverage.
Yeah.
That ball, you couldn't have run the ball out and handed it to McGee in any better spot.
Totally agree with you. Great catch.
Pass, great catch.
Just an absolute through the eye of a needle. It was a wow catch.
There
I got
were-
to keep this in mind. People won't respect. They'll say the kid's playing at Albany. Da 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 da. I mean, that kid was one of the top players in the nation coming out of high school. Went to Oregon. Then went to Jackson State because of Dion. Dion left. Then he leaves Jackson State. But that dude's got like credentials, and He was pretty
There
good,
were
man.
there were we talk about the D-backs, but there were, I don't know how many times, Tony, 4 or 5 times in that game where you just watch the play and you go, wow, that was a really good pitch and catch. I don't care what team you're on, that was just a really good play by the quarterback and the receivers.
We'll get into pass defense here in just a minute.
Let's talk about it now, because the coverage grade is your concern, and again, that just backs up what you saw out there, what Neil said in the postgame. Didn't think the defensive backs were playing fast enough at times and just too open, right? Just simply, if you want to break it down, you don't need a master's in defensive strategy. There's just too much room for those guys. Coverage grade coming out of Penn State, a 51.1. Obviously not great. Coverage grade coming out of the U Albany game, 52.
No,
So not really any better in that second game coming out. Pass rush did improve quite a bit, went from a 52 grade to a 64.5, which you would expect. But the coverage grade, that's going to be the question, guys. That's going to be in a night when really everything worked for you and you did pretty much everything well. I thought that was the glaring part of that was just coverage all around. And that's not to point fingers just at cornerbacks. I think that whole, I'm not breaking new ground here, the whole coverage unit has to get better quickly because Pitt's going to test you.
Yeah, and Jordan Leslie talked about it. Did you hear his postgame? He talked about it, pretty much in detail. And to just paraphrase what he said is, but acknowledge, very, very bad. But he said we were also extremely base in what we were doing. And we weren't going to do a whole lot of exotic things right this week. Maybe, obviously, they're holding some stuff in different packages and things like that for next week. And they felt that, okay, if you do your job, just play these guys pretty base, you'd be all right. But they didn't do that. So probably, I guess what I'm saying is it's somewhere in the middle. It wasn't as bad probably as you think. It certainly isn't as good as we would hope it to be. It's somewhere in the middle. You're going to find out where your middle is next Saturday, because the old Panthers, they threw for 302 yards and 3 TDs at Cincinnati.
Yeah, it did it the first week too. Again, opponent adjusted for Kent State for them, but that's what they did a lot of things yesterday. They ran the ball really well against Cincinnati as well, but they're going to throw the ball. Eli Holstein, right, Alabama guy, he's going to come in. They're going to throw the football. That's got to get better.
They ran for 196. They averaged 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, that was all one guy for the most part.
Yeah.
For them.
Desmond Reed, 148, and remember this cat, Kanata Mumfield. He went 5 for 123.
Yeah, he big played him.
Yeah.
That's a bad. We'll see Cincinnati later in the year too. That's a bad loss for Cincinnati. That's a bad loss.
They
had one at home. You're dominating them. That's a team that was probably a little bit fragile anyway, given their last year. They needed that win. They did not get that. So keep an eye on Cincinnati's psyche as they move through.
No, you're right.
What do they have? That's a hard loss for them.
I was listening to the radio broadcast in the first half, and they were feeling good about it because they knew how badly they needed it. That's a deflator. That's a massive deflator for the program in the sense that there was one you needed to get, and it didn't.
And it was there.
Now all of a sudden, if another couple of other things happen on the bad side, this is how these kinds of seasons start. Like boom, boom, boom.
Well,
can't get up.
All due respect, I'm okay with that, because you need a little, you need a little of that on your schedule.
No doubt. Baylor struggled for a while yesterday. I hope that they stay struggling.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, right? You mentioned them, Tony, earlier. Hope they stay struggling. I mean, again, we like our friends in the broadcast business at all those schools, but by God, I hope your team's bad.
And Texas Tech is really
just be bad.
Texas Tech's
Well,
really
I would
lucky
say
they're
no
not
one comes and
0-2.
helps you up off the mat.
No one.
When you're laying on the mat, no one comes and says, "How you doing? Can I give you a hand?"
Ever.
No one. Round the league, right?
Wait a minute. Didn't we get a lot of support from all the other schools when West Virginia lost to Penn State? Weren't all the other schools? Didn't they send condolences to West Virginia? Did that happen?
Got to get yourself up off the mat. Sorry, Baylor. Stay bad.
No, I do. I mean, you need bad teams. You need bad teams, right? You want to look ahead after week 2? You need Texas Tech to be in such a deplorable state when Thanksgiving weekend comes and you go to Lubbock that there is 22,000 people in the stands. It's cold, windy, and they're bummed out and don't want to be there. That's what you need. You got to start looking at that right now.
You got to have some of that.
You got to have
because I don't think you're getting a lot of that over the next 6 weeks.
No.
If you're getting a lot of take the coin out and flip it. There's a lot of -3, +3 lines that are going to be hung over the next 6 weeks here. Real quick on defenses, as we're going to focus on that, I realize because the offense, there's just not much other to say other than they were fantastic. the Sean Martin emergence yesterday again was encouraging to see, and the question just now is, with he and Jackson in particular, can you pick that performance up, and how many times can you replicate it? Tony, at a few points yesterday, U Albany had to devote a second offensive lineman or a tight end or a back into worrying about Sean Martin getting through there. That to me is just if you want to just base key to this defense, Hoppy, if Sean Martin's a guy where you've got to put two guys over and worry about him, now you really open up some other things, and that happened yesterday. So good to see, and hopefully Sean's in a position where that can be replicated moving forward.
We call that stacking. He needs to stack a couple of those performances.
I mean, he's your NFL guy. He's your NFL guy up front. That's a guy that will be playing on Sundays. If he continues to put forth performances like that, that changes that defense significantly if he gives you that.
You know, also, Asani Redwood, Hammond Russell, starting to give you some really good quality depth. Fatorma Mulba, you know, the always underappreciated nose guard. He's in there. He's battling. He's rooting things out there. They also had the true freshman Kinsler out there early in the game, which is a pretty good sign when you're that young and you're getting some snaps for things to come.
Nate Gabriel in really early as well.
Yeah.
Redwood made the post-game BMI.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Okay. Any other questions? That's kind of the highlights.
I thought kick coverage was good. They let the one get out a bit out to the 31-yard line the last time. But other than that, you had that one kick that went out of bounds. All right, fine. But I thought their coverage downfield was good.
Brown said the kick out of bounds was a wind-adjusted issue. That Hayes over-adjusted for the wind.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they're trying to place it down on that left side number, and said he just kind of hooked it a little bit trying to play the wind. But he also, Neil said afterwards that, kickoff coverage is really the only area of special teams that needed a big improvement from last year. If everything else stayed the same, all the other units, you would take that. He feels a lot better about kick coverage because of the speed. Mm-hmm. They've just added speed guys on that unit, which is getting you further down to cover. One special teams note, as you mentioned, our guy Oliver Straw did get in. Beautiful 46-yard punt, no return.
That poor buddy. I mean, I think witness protection program for him, they only let him go out there once. I mean, his family's in from Australia. Uncle was here. I mean, you chatted with his uncle. We'll talk more about that coming up. He only gets to kick it once.
I did, but real quick on his family, they totally got it. We talked about that. Said,
Talked to him Friday.
Hopefully we won't see Ollie play too much. You guys okay with that? And they said, we totally understand. We just want to say hello to him. We're glad we get to see him. If he doesn't play, we totally get it.
Yeah. Dad told me.
Mountaineer fan. They just want the best for Mountaineers.
Yeah. Dad told me Friday night, he said, if he gets out there once late in the game, that'll be fine. So he was good with it. Fascinating. Talked to his dad at length Friday at the food court.
And they're not mad at you?
No, he's I'll tell you. I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you that he's not mad
Okay.
at me. Anything else, or does that conclude it?
I'll give you one other thing. Highest graded offensive player was whom?
CJ?
No.
Skill or lineman?
Skill. It's obvious. Don't overthink it.
Oh, Green?
GG.
Oh.
Yeah. Highest graded non-skill.
Highest graded non-skill.
And it was negligible, so you can go two back to back, and they were probably what you would expect.
Wyatt
was 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Malone?
No, Nick was very good coming out of the Penn State game, and good. Nick was 7 here, so he had another.
I'm just going to go on a Tomas Remack flyer.
That's it.
Yeah.
Probably the guy over the last couple of years that's been very, very good and consistent that we don't talk about. So your left side, again, and there's some numbers that illustrate you ran left a lot, had great success, left edge over the left guard in that gap between guard and tackle. So left side was very good. Remack and Milan checking in at 2 and 3 as we sit here today.
He's such a big dude.
Remack had a 90 run block grade.
Yeah. They went off that left side on that short yardage situation.
Yes, they did.
They just got, here, bring a little bit of this.
And didn't even bring the Traylon Davis over to block up ahead. They just said, here, we're going left side. CJ, just run it right up in.
Yeah. Very good. Spreads on stats.
Good
Brought
job.
to us by the Conley CPA Group. Again, those numbers will change and will update, perhaps, as the week goes on. So 3:30 Saturday, West Virginia and Pitt. I saw something on social. Could be totally fabricated.
No, that social. No, you don't have to say that.
So it's always true?
It's always correct if it's on social media.
They said that like the amount of tickets purchased by Mountaineer fans for this week's game was like an extraordinary number based on some data. Whether it's true or not, well, we'll see.
Usually is. I mean, the crowd's usually close to 50-50, right? 60-40 at the very least.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Also, obviously, West Virginia, like that, no one needed to tell them the games this coming week because during that end of the quarter, they played that song by Neil Diamond.
Heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, heard about it.
Yeah, they played that song there, so they were getting ready for it as well.
We started our coverage in our pregame. We started talking about Pitt in our pregame.
Just take a day at a time, Hoppy. The season's too short to make it go quick. Just day at a time.
Long pregame.
Yeah.
We got time.
We can get it all in, don't worry.
We can.
Business owners, the folks at Comax Business Systems have a message for you. If you have been playing that, we'll get around to it later. We'll get around to it later. We might do something later. About a new phone system, wait no more. Many benefits to a new phone system for your business and great opportunities. They'll come in, do a free estimate for you, and then you've got alternatives. Purchase it, lease it, rent it, whatever you want to do. Why is it beneficial to your business? Because it gives you that constant contact you need with your customers or with the folks that work for you. From one digital line to 1,000. They got everything you need, competitively priced and efficient. Call Comax Business Systems for a free quote or visit them at ComaxWV.com. Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Do you think we can get that figured out by Thursday's show, whether or not Lou Wendell is providing an armada of pontoons?
We'll ask around, see if we can get that.
The Mountaineers may be taking pontoon boats up the Mon River to get to Pittsburgh. I had a crazy moment at the food court.
Oh, what?
On Friday. I'm getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
Talking to a nice lady there. And she said, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" She said, "On your podcast, you guys talk about Lou Wendell Marine." Sure, yeah, absolutely. She said, and you talk about the Avalon boat. I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "I grew up with the people that created and founded Avalon Boats." I said, "You're from Michigan?" "Yes, Michigan."
Of course you did.
Did she do that after she said it? She go.
I gave her a little
I'm
bit.
gonna tell you, grew up with the Avalon boat people. She didn't do that.
I said, "Can you reach out to him and tell him? Can you reach out to him?" And she goes, "Absolutely."
Oh, really?
Went to school with them. They said we're from a knee high all
Now, is
the
that
way
the
up.
Avalon family, or is there a different name there?
I don't know if they're the Avalons or not. I don't know Frankie Avalon or what kind of Avalon.
Connection 304.
But she said, grew up with them.
Hashtag
And you guys
Connection
are always
304.
talking about the Avalon boats. And I told them, you should listen to this podcast. They're talking about the Avalon. So visit.
So maybe we get the Avalons on sometime.
Well, yeah.
We
Summer
should.
series have the Avalons on.
Yes.
Yeah, visit.
Absolutely.
Visit Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They sell Avalon boats manufactured
those Avalons on
100% in the United States.
Summerville, eh?
Yeah, so check it out at
Cheap
LouWendellMarine.com. That's LouWendellMarine.com. Fantastic. All right. Let's get into a little bit of this. This is Textual Healing, brought to you by episode800.com. That is this podcast's website, where you can get a bunch of products, like the shirt that Hoppy is wearing. He's got the Three Guys Peter Millar going, plus a bunch of other just kind of fun stuff. Coffee as well from Mountaineer Roasting. Just fantastic coffee there. And just a bunch of stuff, so visit episode800.com. We invite you to do that. Three Guys also brought to us by the great folks at Tudor's. Now, in our last episode, they brought us those chicken wraps.
I had two.
Chicken wraps?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, that's really good. So here's the deal.
The chicken ranch one was really good.
Yeah.
Zesty
It's very
ranch.
good.
as it's called.
Zesty.
Yeah.
But this,
That was my favorite.
You know, it's getting cooler.
It's good.
Getting cooler outside, which means it's great biscuit weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So don't forget that the unbelievable biscuit that Tudor's makes called the Mountaineer. They've got a bunch of them, obviously, but that's the Mountaineer. And if you're
champion.
watching,
World
you see World Championship. They defeated 32 other brands that make biscuits.
Lined up,
beat him.
Last March's Madness biscuit bracket, Tudor's comes out with the victory. Now, I may make some stuff up and exaggerate on various things about, the river and going up the river, but this is actually true. They won last March. The organization called Garden and Gun Magazine hosted its March Madness biscuit bracket, and Tudor's Mountaineer won it. It's packed with country ham, egg cheese, and a crispy hash brown. Named the South's best biscuit. Check one out. Brad and I think we can eat 2 in one sitting.
I still contend that.
By the way, we say world champion, they say the Southern champion of the South. Look, biscuit in South. If it's a champion in the South,
then by default, it's the world champion.
Exactly.
World's championship.
Point.
You're not going to be defeated by Thailand or Russia or.
Not at all.
No.
All right, here we go.
I'm kind of hungry this morning, too. I don't know that we should show that. Can we do something different on Sunday mornings from them? Because now I'm more hungry than I already was.
Yeah, I'm starving, too. I haven't eaten.
Hey, next Sunday. Well, no, I'm not going to say it.
Good. Here, I want to jump ahead past Pitt.
Okay.
And this is just for those of you that are coming to the Kansas game. Rev Kev and the barbecue over at the food court.
I know it well.
They pre-order on those pans, which have gone fantastic. You can get the pans. The ordering, there's 50 of these. That's it. For the Kansas game, if you're coming, you heard us talking about the brisket and the chicken and the pulled pork. This coming Thursday, 12 September at noon on their website, that's when the order opportunity will open. And it'll be open until noon on Wednesday the 18th. So you got 6 days. $200, 1 whole brisket, 2 pounds of pulled pork, 2 pounds of chicken, feeds between 15 to 17 people. You can go to thesourcewv.org starting noon Thursday of this week to pre-order your pan. And I saw a gentleman at the food court. He brought a kid's wagon with him.
He was totally prepared for the.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he brought a kid's wagon.
Loaded up.
He put the pan there, and then he was going to bring it to his tailgate. I told him I want to review
Well
it.
done with the transportation.
By the way, I've expanded my horizon on the barbecue because I went pork on Friday, and then I took a chicken home to the wife, and then she ate some Friday, and then I finished it yesterday. Wow.
Really good, right?
Really good.
Did I tell you I saw her?
By the way, this past Saturday,
Yeah, you saw her at the Kroger.
Might have been the best overall food at that food court. The combo of everything that was there.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
I agree. First text, Charlie from Midlothian. No, it's not. Actually, I don't know.
Todd from Milton, right?
Yeah, it's Todd from Milton. I skipped one. Todd from Milton, travel nurse working in California currently. I was taking care of a gentleman this week, and as usual, out here on the West Coast, he asks me, where's that wonderful country accent from? I say, West Virginia. He says, are you a Mountaineer fan? I say, one of the biggest. He then says, I have a nephew that played for them while Rich Rod was the coach.
Of course he did.
Kid's name was Mike Bilikonski. I didn't recognize the name, but I did have to look him up, and I do remember him.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. And he did play, and he sent his photo with him. Charlie from Midlothian. Oh, there's a picture.
There it is.
Yeah, there he is. The internet has, through the years, done a lot of things. You know what it's also done?
What?
It's stopped lying.
What now?
It stops a lot of lies. For years, people would say, to other people, yeah, I played at West Virginia from, this year to this year. And they, oh, you really? You did? And they'd come up to me and they'd go like, hey, did you ever remember this so-and-so? Well, the internet has changed all that because it's all now down there. So you can't fake it anymore. When were you there? I was there. And then you look it up and go, you're not even on the roster, dude.
I don't know about
It's
that.
a very narrow lane he's talking about where it stopped lying, I
Yes.
think, maybe.
I think
Some Russian troll farms will take exception to that. There might be some lying.
I agree, narrow lane. 'Cause I think there's a very broad lane.
Well, I should say
AI
this.
generated that probably has me playing for the Mountaineers.
Here we go. Texter, all of Hoppy's squabbles with Brad and Tony on the last podcast may have prepared him well for the distraction that took place at the Beyond Pepperoni Rolls function in Shepherd last week. Go beat Pitt. That's from Charlie Middle. Did you have a situation, huh?
There was a kerfuffle that occurred in that event, and I may have gotten a little bit.
Did you use any swear words
Did
did you direct any swear words toward them?
You know how when there's
Answer the question. I'm in your chair now. Answer the question.
I'd like to answer the question this way. Do you know in a game where there's a hit right near the out of bounds,
Right.
and over in the bench of the other team,
Right.
and there's some pushing and shoving and some things are said?
Yeah.
That was the forum equivalent
Well, sure.
of that.
Sometimes you got to get involved.
Sometimes individuals who are there
I mean,
may
you
get
didn't start it.
involved.
You just were reacting.
I was reacting.
They came up on you.
Roll up on me.
Sorry that happened to you, Hoppy.
That's all right.
Sorry
If
that
you
happened
ever
to
think
you.
twice, you may walk over. You gonna let back on Kercheval. All due respect to your cause, you gonna let back. Call Kercheval gets all riled up, comes at you. So you just sit right here, Senators. I'll handle this.
Spider monkey.
Senator, you guys just sit here. I'll take care of this business.
You might not realize you've come to West Virginia.
Like that Kenny Rogers song. All of a sudden, they looked around. Hoppy locked the door.
Everyone considered him coward of the county. It was
Could have heard a pin drop.
That was an unfortunate event and an otherwise really nice event, and I appreciate the folks at Stubblefield Institute at Shepherd. We had a good time. It was a little dust up.
Hello from Weirton, the dude who found the 1993 Miami ticket in the pocket of his shorts. That was the second coldest game I've ever been to. I was a redshirt freshman on the team that year, and I was as close as I could get to the heaters at the end of the bench. If that guy was there wearing shorts, then he needs some long johns from Daniels and fine-looking fills, a free six-pack of Connection 304, and a gift certificate to the GOAT, signed JY from Polka.
Fine-looking Phil was there Friday.
Oh, I know. You'll see him coming up in our picture montage.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Good Connection 304 reference.
Yes.
Efforting more as we speak.
Oh, yeah. It's in the hoppers. Nick the Greek writes in, thank you for reading the Greek festival text last week. I'd love to bring you all some baklava. On Sunday the 15th, I'd be happy to drive up to Morgantown to bring you all some. I've respectfully declined, guys.
Thank you.
I said he doesn't need to drive all the way up here from Clarksburg to bring us. No, thank you. Give it to someone that maybe hasn't eaten it before, but we thank you very much and we wish you the best. Texter, David in Memphis, a triple West Virginia connection. I noticed the gentleman ahead of me at the airport ticket counter was wearing a WVU hat. I was as well, and we both gave each other a "Let's go Mountaineers" as he walked away. Then the agent asked if the other guy and I knew each other, and I said, no. Just noticed we were both repping the Mountaineers. He started laughing and said he had gone to WVU. Yeah, what are the odds? David in Memphis.
What are the odds? About 100%.
I was going to even money.
Like, that's what that was the favorite. It was the favorite. The three random people.
It was a lock
at the airport. Sure.
Next would have been got on the plane. Pilot, of course, was from West Virginia.
Yeah, the first ever minus odds for a parlay in history, right there. Of course.
No surprise here.
3-team parlay.
Yeah. Texter. I stopped by the food court. Amazing food by Rev Kev, and the Connection 304 beer was delicious. On my way home, I stopped at the Go Mart by the Meadowbrook Mall, and it got me thinking. Have you all ever thought about selling your stuff in the stores? This Go Mart had a Tudor's in it, and all I could think about was having a one-stop shop of Mountaineer biscuits, Slim Jims, Reese cups, Efforting shirts, and, of course, the beer.
I like where you're at.
Connection 304 available, or it was, at the Go Marts, but we sold out. But wait, don't worry. Go Mart, among all of the folks around the state, they're committed, right? They're committed.
Yes.
And more literally is being brewed as we speak. There will be more Connection 304. We'll have the cans back for the cans this week. We polished off the drafts at the thing, and it's getting, again, really good reviews.
You know, Nathan makes a great point. I like what he's thinking there. Need a separate pop-up shop and some, but basically it's kind of Go Mart.
Yeah, exactly.
They got our stuff.
We're not going to compete with Gomart.
They got Slim Jims. They got Reese's Cups. They're already basically kind of doing a three guys.
Exactly.
I mean, they might want to consider rebranding a couple of their stores, Tony. They might just. I mean, Gomart's been around a long time. Got a very well-known brand across the state. Might rebrand just a couple of those.
Maybe I'm going to be like Tony here. Maybe Gomart could have a kiosk at Three Guys and have Slim Jims, Reese's Cups.
Well, we've already got a lot of food going on there.
Yeah, we do have a lot going on.
Duke is there from the wine bar, which is kind of a misnomer of a name because their food is so good. Great, wonderful wine, but great food. What are those things he had? The meatballs are awesome with the cheese on. What are those other things? Cracklins?
Those
are
they're really good.
He brought a little bag over those.
And lemonade, some of those lemonade was there on Friday?
Lemonade was huge. I had an orange dreamsicle one that my daughter started. I said, can I borrow that? Can I taste it? Very good.
Chuck had one.
Tardy time.
Chuck was with me Friday. He
had a big lemonade?
Had a big
it's
old
like a
lemonade.
keg of lemonade.
It's huge.
They do not cheat you on the size.
No. It was nice. And, again, Parkersburg Brewing, Tony, I mean, they are there. They are representing. And even though Jim was out of the country.
Coming back from India.
But Michelle was there.
Yeah. Great.
Holding court. Yeah.
Texter, thinking about Tony's comment about the future Alabama games maybe going away. Pitt has open dates 27 and 28. Could we pick them up and have the series from 27 through 32? Not sure what we could do for the 26 Bammer game. All of this is assuming we're not all in the same Super 5 conference in 5 years.
Great
Thank
point.
you. That's Drew from Parsons.
Dean
from Parsons, now in Fairmont. Texter, hey guys, I'm texting. It's 12:50 p.m. Saturday. Bowling Green's up on Penn State. Penn State could win by 50. It's still head-scratching to me how Bowling Green can put up more points in 45 minutes than we could the entire game. Concerning. Yeah, I mean, there's no question if you try to do like a linear thought process as how is this happening, it makes you scratch your head, and it does make you go like, what? And then, as we mentioned earlier, you see some of these other results, i.e. Northern Illinois and Notre Dame. Like, how in the world does that happen? So, again.
Wait a minute. So things don't go exactly according to script when it comes to live sports?
Brad, you broke that down yesterday.
I did break it down, Hoppy. Thank you. I'll send this to Bowling Green folks for their podcast, Three Guys Before Their Game. Here's what it came down to. Now, I'm being serious here. The first play of the game, I don't know if you were able to watch this, but the first play of the game, Bowling Green ran a deep post right side going across the left. It was a heck of a creative play call. Don't know where they saw that. That might have been the first play of the game against Penn State, West Virginia. They run the same exact play. Guess what happened?
Complete.
Caught the football. Complete for a 30-yard pass play. Bowling Green had two 25-yard-plus plays on that first drive. They caught their balls and made explosive plays. West Virginia did not. Bowling Green controlled the time of possession in the first quarter, just like West Virginia did. 11 minutes to 3 minutes. Good formula. Here was the difference. Bowling Green had 4 trips to the red zone first half there. Mm-hmm. Touchdowns on 3 of them, field goal on the other. They cashed in. They did a great job. They took advantage of Penn State in a letdown spot, and they executed their plays. Second half, what happened? Penn State went back in and said, oh, is that right? That's right. Came out, held Bowling Green 6 yards rushing in the third quarter, and then took over that game. But they completed their plays, but I found it interesting. They ran the exact play West Virginia did on the first play. So they see something? Yeah. A guy made a play, caught it.
Yeah. Texter.
That concludes the Bowling Green breakdown portion of the podcast.
Well done.
Texter says, man, I just saw where Alan Bowman from Oklahoma State is in his 7th year of college athletics. Mm-hmm. I was pitching for the University of Charleston in my junior season when he was a freshman in 2017. Wow, you might be right, Tony. We're on our way to seeing guys represent a school for a decade.
Yeah, what he doesn't say, that guy was pitching, he just retired this last year.
I thought the same. I haven't done as deep a dive on the other Big 12 teams as you guys have, but when I heard that, I thought, Alan Bowman is still playing?
Been everywhere twice. Right?
No, just keep playing until somebody says you can't.
Keep playing.
Been everywhere.
Keep playing.
Texter, I might be done coming to games. Why do we have the absolute worst fans? I take my 18-month-old son to his first game, and some dumbass from the upper level decides to throw a beer after Albany scored. It was about 10 feet from hitting my son.
Can't fix stupid. Can't fix drunk.
Sorry that it happened.
Bad fan
man.
behavior happens everywhere, and it's unfortunate, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but it happens everywhere, unfortunately. Brad, this may be news to you. There's a lot of bad behavior these days.
I'd say, well, you pay a lot for those beers. I don't know why you throw one.
I wouldn't throw one.
Don't do that.
Sorry that happened. You guys have discussed that playing Penn State first is bad, as is playing 11 Power 5s, Power 4s is an abomination. What would be each of your ideal 12-game schedules? So I think you play an FCS like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think you play a very middle-of-the-road group of 5, like a Mid-American Conference school, and then I think you play a traditional rival. And as Brad said, I would have no problem with what Brad said. If it's Pitt every single year, let's do it. That's what would be mine.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan from Morgantown, formerly of Baltimore. I'm glad to be coming back home in West Virginia as of January. Question for the numbers guru, Brad. Don't feel like we've seen a ton of motion against Albany tonight. What percentage of the playbook do you think we've seen from West Virginia so far this season?
Good question. Good point, Ryan. I don't low, less than 50%, I would guess.
Don't get too exotic, right? I mean, that game was about.
Didn't need to. Yeah.
Let's do what we need to do. Don't get too exotic.
Yeah. Matt from the Ville writes, 2024, bigger area of concern. Football pass coverage versus basketball rebounding.
Well, that's a good question, Matt. That's a good question.
Pass coverage, because if you don't get that fixed, you are going to have a really, really difficult season. Rebounding in basketball, I mean, it's not as fatal as I think horrific pass coverage could be.
Well, we've seen that here.
Yeah.
Coach Beeline's teams weren't great
Right.
rebounding teams, and I think won a few games, didn't they?
They won a few.
Yeah.
And you can
That's a good question.
you can decide whether you want to be an aggressive rebounding team, right, or just be a rebounding team.
Well, but
because
just sometimes you don't have the personnel. I mean, West Virginia is not going to have great size, so that is difficult to do that. But you can counter, to Tony's point, you can counteract that with some other things.
yeah, it's tough to counteract on if you've got bad pass defense.
That's a tough one.
Speaking of Coach Beeline, the next home game, they are honoring
This will be fun.
the Beeline 15-year anniversary of that team that made it to the Elite Eight and was a whisker from the Final Four. All those guys, I shouldn't say all, but I mean, I hear, almost everyone is coming back. They moved it specifically because all those guys are coaching now, so they're not in basketball season. So they're going to have and be recognized at this next home game against Kansas.
That's great.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be good to see all those guys again, won't it? What a fun team that was.
3 guys before the game is brought to us by GoMart. I can't tell you enough to get that GoMart rewards card. Hoppy's got 3 of them now. He used his real name, his fake name. He just goes, just bangs all those things. But in all seriousness, you instantly began to save on food and fuel. And again, our product, Connection 304, that tremendous beer.
When do you think it's going to be?
In the
there?
next 7 to 10 days, it'll all be back out there into the field. But they sold out.
Wow.
Had a guy come to me, picked it up in Flatwoods, and had some Bridgeport, too. Texter, Ben from Ahia.
By the way, the buy one, get one for $1 M&M's still available.
Still available?
How's that work? What's that deal?
Buy one, regular M&M's, peanut or regular. Buy regular priced one package of M&M's, you get the second for $1. Got some Reese deals, too.
Texter. High spread scopes Hoppy. WVU did what they needed to do Saturday. 2 100-yard rushers is good no matter whom you play. Crazy what happened with defensive coordinator Jordan Leslie busting his face open on that play with Beiser. Never heard of anything like that, Joe and Charleston. So I talked to him post-game.
He took a hard hit.
He took a big boy hit, didn't he?
Dude,
Stitches, the whole thing.
He thinks he temporarily got knocked out.
I don't know how he couldn't, right? If you got hit in the head hard enough to get stitches, I don't know how you didn't.
You know, I was watching him get sutured up, and they're fixing him on the sideline there. And when the doctor cleared and the timeout was almost over, and he stood back up, like you could tell, like he was just like, whoa, and he just like, I'm toughing this thing out, and he walked back out there and did it. But
He sat out a series of calling the defense.
He he's a tough ass. And
Hope
he's a tough
all right.
ass.
That's
He's a tough ass dude. So like you just, but I don't care how tough you are. You can't take a football helmet at full speed in your face. I don't care how much you can bench. You can't take a football helmet in your face. Did they show it on TV like close at all?
No, they
you
did
couldn't
not.
really see
you
it.
could see what you could see was when that play came over to the sideline. You saw a coach get legs whipped out from under him, but it was obscured who it was. So we didn't hear that till later. Jeez, that was a tough hit.
Dangerous over there on the sideline.
Yeah.
Head on swivel.
Glad he's okay for the most part. I mean, I'll be sore for a couple days here.
Yeah, there's a lot of bones up in here too. I mean, they're probably going to take a second day look at that as well.
Well, you know that from your cosmetic surgery.
By the way, good point to bring this up with his cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
Happy 73rd birthday to our guy today.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Tony.
Thank you, Hoppy.
Birthday.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate that. That's great.
I get the age right there?
I have one.
73, 74.
74.
Okay.
I have one every year.
Looks great for 74.
He does.
I have one every year, so it's not that big of a thing.
No, it's not. But every time you have one, it's good, better than the alternative. So we'd just like to say happy birthday to you. Plus, if you'd like to wish him happy birthday again, he's all nervous and uncomfortable right now that we're doing this. So if you want to just go ahead.
Happy birthday. Well,
probably should have bought a cake.
Let's do truth. You're 61. What are you?
2.
62?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this in our show prep segment about 2 minutes before 10 when we were recording. Is that how long we've been? How long we've been together?
When I met you, I was 21.
Wow.
Which flipped me out because you said you were 29.
Yeah.
Which is the age of one of the twins.
Yeah.
So Andrew's 29, Matthew's 29. So that's when I met you.
Oh.
But you at that time you appeared to be so much older.
Really?
Yeah, you were crabby. You were already an old man at 29, right? I mean, right, Brad?
I could absolutely see that.
You could see that.
Absolutely could see that.
But in all seriousness, it is amazing that you were just 29.
I know.
You seem more like 40 at that time, but
you know what happened was
you were 21.
20. You were 21 once.
Yeah.
Is when I was 29, I was 40. And now that I'm 69, I'm 40. You know, that's been my age.
It's like that. It's that song, Hoppy, right? It's that Bob Dylan sings that song. I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now, right?
That's fine. I'm just going to go with that age. Just pick an age, go with it.
We got.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah,
once
seriously,
again.
happy birthday.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thank you. I shared a birthday with the late Milan Pushkar.
Really?
Stadium. Yeah, we both had the same birthday, September 8th.
Did you look up, well, he's a West Virginia celebrity. Did you look up, like, international celebrities?
I never have, no.
Where's my computer?
Oh, doggone it. All right, Ben from Ahia.
Look it up, Brad.
Like many fans, I'm concerned with the secondary. However, we look dominant as we should in every other facet. These early weeks have been filled with major conference teams, including some top 10, playing very tight against lowly G5s or FCSs. We need to talk about the secondary, but also feel good that we didn't pull the Texas Tech from week 1. You know, Tech is about a whisker from being 0-2. Remember who they played week 1?
Abilene Christian.
Doggone there.
Yeah. Keith Patterson, former WVU staffer.
Alma mater of Tyron Bradley for the Mountaineers. He's an Abilene Christian product.
So does anybody know what's going on with Texas Tech?
Yeah, I don't know, Hoppy. When they got that job there, they said they were going to get all them high school recruits, right, Brad? They had all the great relationship network, and they were going to get the best players in the state.
Yeah, they're out to a tough start.
Yeah. Joe in Charleston. I already read that one. I'm not even going to say hello today. I'm coming in hot. Last Sunday I was listening, and I know I wasn't the only one who thought Brad was a little ticked off. I'm sure we all thought it was due to the disappointing game against Penn State, but then we uncovered the real issue. It was because I made a comment in passing at the food court about Brad and Tony's ability or lack thereof to finish 2 biscuits from Tudor's. I had no idea my words carried that much weight. As a man who has eaten many thundering herds in my life, I could not imagine downing 2. Nevertheless, Brad and Tony continued their stance on the podcast, and I am still a doubter. So I am here issuing a challenge. Tony and Brad, November 16, Baylor comes to town, and so do Brandon and Jolie. If they can finish 2 biscuits in one sitting, I will donate $200 to Rev Kev's Lunchbox program. Do it for the kids. Great seeing you guys. P.S. When I grow up, I want to be as cool as Hoppy. When I saw him last Friday, it looked like he had the food court at 6 p.m. and a private event at Ernest Hemingway's house in Key West at 8 p.m. Guy's a stud. P.S. P.S. Has anyone ever seen Randy Mazie and Rev Kev in the same room?
Rev Kev, because of
Kev's taller. Kev can take you in the
I
post.
see what he's saying about that.
Yeah. Oh,
the
that's similar
goatee.
look and the hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it last week when we brought this up. I knew this would turn into a thing, and it would be a challenge. And I hate to back down from a challenge, but I also don't need to ruin the experience of the Tudor Biscuit because I like them. I don't know that I want to go over the top here. So we'll see. That was well done by Brandon there. I assume that Brandon wrote that. Assume nice PR move to try and bait us into that. But
you are the last guy that falls for a bait. You will not do that. You'll run the other way
Brandon,
on a bait.
thank you. Appreciate that. I'll decide when and where I try a couple. You're not going to tell me what to do or when to try to, but thank you.
Hey,
always great to see them, by the way. Love when they're in.
Speaking of seeing them at the food court, once again, I have so much fun. I mean, I was there for like hour and a half, 2 hours on Friday. I didn't go on Saturday because it's just a work day, and I'm glad that Brad went and Tony, I think you went. But
you had to work Saturday?
I did have to work Saturday.
Brad, you didn't work
no,
Saturday?
I had the day off. I did not work, did not do 9 hours on the air, so I went over and hung at the food court.
I feel shame.
Continue.
But I have such a good time there. And seeing people and talking to them, and it's become just like this community.
You look forward to going over, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Connection 304. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you meet new people, and you see old friends, and you see people you haven't seen in a while. Albie was there, Tony, on Friday.
He was there 1 week, the week before too.
Yeah,
was he?
Yeah,
Did he get the brisket?
Attendee.
Because he didn't get the brisket week 1. I hope he got brisket week. Well, hang on, wait a second. Where are we at, guys?
Oh, that's okay. That's some folks I ran into, and they are opening a storefront there next to Fine Looking Phil's.
Oh yeah,
where they're doing like coffee and donuts and stuff.
Yeah, sweet stuff. Yeah.
So they're from, I think, Beckley, maybe.
Okay.
If I recall that.
Look at you all studded out, Hoppy, with your sunglasses and your hat. I mean, heck,
Your hat game's been strong.
your hat has been really good. I mean, you could be
I gotta
doggone
get you-
movie star.
I got one of those three guys' hats coming for you.
Oh, that'd be good.
We're efforting that. I'll work on that.
And then also Friday, Charles Wesley was there.
Well, okay, let's do that. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Am I getting ahead of myself?
Yes. Why don't you come to the pre-production meetings
Yeah,
when
I was going to say, he didn't pay attention to the pre-production
Didn't pay
meeting when we
attention.
went through exactly what we're going to talk about there.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
So,
That's on me.
You just got to pay attention in the
That's on me.
All right, fellas,
when
let's
game
do
film session.
Let's do the
He
pic.
tells you exactly what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's do the picture montage now from Homeless Dave. Here we go.
Homeless Dave.
Great to have some. Tardy time was back, as we said. Here we go. Hoppy. Well, that's not Hoppy. Hang on. Where are we at here?
It's tardy time in the background.
Oh, this thing is just. I'm off.
Look at that lemonade my man has in the front.
Okay,
there.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're good. We're good. Start it. Great to have Tardy time back. There's some great Mountaineer fans. They got big lemonade. Now, Hoppy in front of the wine bar after enjoying his trio of meatballs. There they are.
Yeah, those
More to
meatballs are
come
good,
with
aren't
these
they?
nice folks. They traveled from Beckley just to see the court and surrounding space. We actually might partner with them in the future. We'll leave it at that for now. Next up, Mail's Fresh Produce and our friends. These are, I had that, by the way.
Yeah,
I
you
got
had
it.
one of the peach
I went
smoothies,
with the
didn't you? I
peach
saw
smoothie.
you over there.
It was very good. P1 listeners, next up, Joe and Martha from the very first event at the Apothecary. They had themselves a smoothie. Hit to the next one there. There is Joe and Martha.
Yep, of course.
They're terrific. So it's good to have them
Didn't
with
they
us.
scale like Mount
They went
Kilimanjaro or something?
Went to Nepal.
Oh, they
Climbed Nepal and the
build a
Lost.
house on top of Mount Everest, something like that. They're awesome. They've been to a lot of our stuff. Thank you guys.
Let me see. Even had a celebrity sighting. Next up, Charles Wesley Godwin was there, and Huey Mack.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Big in the music scene.
By the way, let me
Yes.
say, so hold on that for a second. You know, Charles went over to Rev Kev's at the church back on Thursday, and at 4:45 in the morning, he showed up and cooked the barbecue with him.
Did he?
Was there for hours. Yeah, was there for hours. So good to see him.
Charles got one of the shirts on there. Nobody cares work harder.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Episode800.com. Thanks,
That
Charles.
doggone Charles. I mean, he's on top of it.
Rev Kev
Terrific.
is almost reaching, he might have passed Homeless Dave status in
Oh,
terms
yeah.
of recognition.
People go get pictures made with him. Yeah. Okay, keep flipping those guys. So we got that going on, and there's again Hoppy hobnobbing with CWG, and there's fine looking Phil, a rare profile shot of fine looking Phil, easy to identify, the only man with a blazer at the food court. Just came over. Hopefully he was wearing his tape measure, and that was draped about him. And so Hoppy's saying, "Now listen, Phil, if I come in, can you give me some discount clothes?" All right. So next up, there's JC.
Yes.
Yeah.
With her Charles Wesley. She was fired up.
Helping us a lot.
JC's there a lot.
Now, she designed the T-shirts that Charles is wearing. She's the one that designed Nobody Cares, Work Harder. And then Connection 304 Beyond Elite. Yeah, people just love the beer. Sold out completely. Back in stock Tuesday, middle end of next week, various locations. It'll be out there. Check it out. Now, next up, let's do some more pictures. Keep flipping. You guys might have more. There I am, Friday night. So into the foreground to the right, the lady with the black purse, that's Oliver Straw's mom. And then Brad to the left. And then the gentleman in the black shirt, that's Oliver's dad. Oh. That's Oliver's dad talking with me. And
you were holding court there, I see.
Yeah. So my wife's there too. So here we go. Hey, guys, come here on camera. So Oliver's dad.
But by the way, you can see there was a brown bag sitting right on top of the tabletop right there.
Oh, and this is the bag? This is it? Okay.
So Oliver's dad brought us gifts from down under. He brought us a koozie.
Well, hold on. Some down under.
And some other places.
Countries, because of course he travels around.
He's unbelievable. So we got an Australia koozie. Nice. And then he brought this, and we've dealt with this before. Whew. Here's the Vegemite.
Vegemite.
That's great.
I was very nice to him about everything.
Except the Vegemite?
When he brought that out, I said, dude, no. How about this?
Ollie's mom agreed.
Oh, really?
She's out on the Vegemite, too.
Brought these from Sweden. These are called super salts, and it's it's not written in American.
Kind of a licorice candy, I think,
licorice candy type thing. Now, watch this. Brought us sardines.
Boy.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually eat these because I love sardines.
Well, you just said I'm going to eat. Immediately.
What if you or I would like the sardines?
Well, I guess
Hobby, I got something for you.
We don't get any.
These are really
I know, but what if he wanted the sardines? You didn't give him a choice. You just said you're taking it.
Correct.
It wasn't presented as a gift to you.
Now check these out from England.
I know.
That's what he does.
That's a classic.
Jelly babies. They might be from Australia. Jelly babies. Those are really good.
No, England.
England. These are from England.
England.
Kangaroo jerky. Kangaroo game jerky. Hoppy?
Not sure if that's at Gomart yet.
Premium.
Might be working on it.
Listen, low in fat, no added MSG, a source of protein. Get some kangaroo jerky.
All right, I'll take that. Oh, wait, maybe you want that. I'm sorry, I just did the same thing.
Brought us some oven baked savory crackers, because you got to have that when you use Vegemite.
Man, they got a lot in their bag.
It's like a clown car. Stuff just keeps coming out of that bag.
Little individual, like you're dipped, like you go to the little dips of Vegemite. But then the piece de resistance.
Yes.
Wait till you see this. Oliver's dad brought me a can opener.
Yeah.
And a bottle opener.
Well, you can open bottles, you can open cans, but what's the handle on that?
Wait a minute. Pull that all the way up.
What's the handle on that?
What is that?
Kangaroo testicles.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, we hope you don't feel it.
Probably be. I don't know if we've already. That should be the title of the show, probably. We get weird international stuff sometimes.
We do.
Yeah, kangaroo testicles, and I said, "Whoa!" And literally, that's what they are. And Oliver's mom said, "And it's a rather small kangaroo."
Wow. I'm just going to not say anything here because.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate the.
It says right here, this genuine product was harvested.
He's going to keep going.
Yeah.
Was harvested and processed in accordance with NP and WS rules and regulations. So
did the kangaroo sign off on that?
I think.
He was committed. He was committed. And the title on the card says Kangaroo Scrotum. Right there.
That's a first. Even for this show. That's a first.
Well, it's kind
of not. You remember what we got from Madagascar that time?
Madagascar.
What was that?
Something in the same
The tip.
The tip.
Okay, that's enough. You know, in talking to them, it's no surprise that Ollie was like he was, right?
Yeah.
Mature beyond his years.
When Ollie's dad was describing all this stuff, he put one of those, I forget which it was from Latvia. And he said that as if he was just over in Star City. He said, "No, as I was Latvia, I picked you up this. And then when I went to Sweden, we picked up this."
What does he do? What does he just travels a lot?
He's in the diamond business.
Well, let me tell you something. I talked to him.
Yeah.
He has led a fascinating life.
Okay.
Of intrigue.
Intrigue?
Of intrigue. International intrigue.
Like international spy or something? Or?
Well, just, whoa. Now, that's going to bring us to the next one, because this dude also was a whoa. This is our last texter. Where's Hoppy? Hey, three guys. It was great meeting Tony and Brad at the food court. We enjoyed Rev Kev's barbecue boxes, brisket, and the wine bar's pork cracklings. Tony, thanks for the crackling recommendation. We sampled the new beer and everything was excellent. Tony, we enjoyed the conversation with you discussing my career from WVU Tech to the intelligence community to Augusta University in Augusta, Georgia. Brad, my son Travis and I enjoyed our conversation with you, touching on alumni player guest Nathan Adrian and a few quarterback decisions from the Penn State game with the picks on your phone. Meeting you two at the
broke down the game with pictures.
Breaking down game film now at three guys.
Meeting you two at the food court was a close second to watching our Mountaineers win over U Albany, capping a great weekend. And more, yeah. So there they are. So the dude on the far left, Rod is the guy next to me and Brad. He's the gentleman that worked in an incredibly interesting intelligence capacity for our United States of America for over 30 years.
Really?
Gets an internship with the NSA as a freshman at West Virginia Tech back in the early 80s. And the NSA is just at that point. Starts working for them as a summer intern, and it takes him all over the world.
Wow.
And he was into some stuff. Now, the guy on the left were their buddies from college. And so they go out there. Anyway, Rod and Travis, great meeting you, and everybody else. Now,
is there a picture with Travis too, the son? Yeah, there
he is. Yeah, there's dad and son.
Yep,
they had a big time. They came up from Augusta, Georgia. Now, here's
it was fun talking to those guys.
Here's one last thing. So we've been talking about the wine bar and the pork cracklins, and I love to see this because Duca, who is the owner of the wine bar, has a son named Will, and he has Will cooking. Now, Will's a freshman in high school, and that brought back a lot of memories for me.
Sure,
because that's how I grew up, indentured servitude. Your parents said, "This is what you're doing, you're working." So he's cooking the crackers. But I also found out that Will has a great skill.
Tremendous skill.
He is unbelievable. He's a yo-yo guy. So let's roll our yo-yo video if we can.
And who's this again?
This is Will. Watch this kid on this yo-yo.
What?
Check the dude out. My man is bringing some yo-yo tricks. That's not sped up. That is real time. See the person walking behind? So that's real time. Look at that.
That is awesome.
Now, I don't think he performs at the wine bar.
No.
Probably should.
But he does now.
He does at the tailgate.
Quick Will story. Last year's school talent show.
Yeah.
Age division, upper middle school age division.
Yeah.
Duca and Abby, Duca's wife, and Will's mom came over before the talent show and said that Elise, their daughter, was emceeing. Once Future and broadcasting.
Yeah.
She was very good on the mic. And I said, "Oh, okay, that'd be great. We'll pay attention." She goes, and Will's in it too. I said, "Oh, what's Will doing?" And they said he's yo-yoing. I said he's yo-yo. So I thought, okay, this will be fun. He was an 8th grader at the oldest age of schools. I thought Will was like pulling a typical 8th grader, like talent show. I'm gonna get up there and do a yo-yo thing.
Walk the dog.
I'm like, oh, this will be good. This will be fun. Like Will's gonna be funny. He's gonna be up there now. So they call Will's name up. Will, this guy comes up and he's got a case. He's carrying a case. Yeah. And I was sitting by my wife and I said, Will might be serious about this. He got a case. And my man pulled it out and absolutely rocked the talent show.
Sure.
So again, I don't know if he's performing nightly at the wine bar, but
no,
I'll try and
2 shows,
that.
7 and 9. But he performed at the Three Guys Tailgate.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, Will's one of the good ones.
Now
terrific.
we've added.
We've got great food, great drink, yo-yoists, live performance.
That was fun. All right, we're back on Thursday to preview. You'll be here Thursday.
No, I'm working security Thursday.
You're not emceeing or hosting any protests or anything like that.
I'll be here.
Okay, good. Outstanding.
Can we get Yo-Yo? Get him back there on the.
Yeah, he was really good.
He's
really good. I think the food court's ready for you ever see those? They ever go in big cities and things people paint themselves completely gold and they just
Oh yeah.
I think we need some of those at the food court. Jesters, jugglers.
You have to be careful what you say here because also on the food court Friday night it was awesome seeing the people that were out there. But Ted, the golden retriever, made an appearance.
The dogs were awesome.
Ted was awesome and he was very well behaved, but some other folks took some liberties.
Luca, the dog, came too.
Luca was a beautiful dog. We granted Ted permission to come, and others just took it upon themselves to bring their dog. So it turned into a dog park Friday night.
It was
awesome.
awesome.
It was great.
It was great.
World famous 5-star landscaper that decided to leave landscaping, go do something else.
Smart move, yeah.
He was there with his dog, and Morgan from Morgantown.
Yes.
With him, of course.
Yes. I had, in fact, I attended to the dog for a period of time.
They appreciate that.
Parker and Morgan's dog, or Ted, the golden retriever?
Not the golden retriever, the other dog.
Luca, the big white one?
All those Ted and Luca, they're run by dentists. A group of 3 dentists there. They brought those in from Hurricane.
Luca was bright white.
He just got a bath.
Well, I understand that. He's still bright white.
Yeah, he was. 3 Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient.
We had a Sandy pot there,
for
too.
25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Visit Gomart.com for
Thank you,
details.
Homeless Dave.
Download the Gomart app.
Thanks
By
for
Lou
coming to the
Wendell
3 Guys
Marine
Dog Park.
Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Taking the Mountaineers up the river to Pitt. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. Tudor's Biscuit World. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. We've done enough damage. Let's move on.
Kangaroo testicles, first ever.
Yeah. Hey, listen. This is the only podcast in the world where you're going to get kangaroo can opener nuts. All right, we're out. See ya.